Israelites complained about everything. They weren't satisfied with the food, and they weren't satisfied with how come they accepted the Torah? It seems out of character that they said yes.
I gave a whole lecture about this in this yeshiva, the last Shabbos in yeshiva, in front of a lot of Torah scholars. Maybe I could dedicate next week's. I mean, it's hard to explain on one foot. I'll say that the people in the desert are called the Dor Deya, the generation of knowledge. They were the greatest people who ever lived. Imagine, they accepted the Torah on Mount Sinai. God came down to them and spoke to them. The greatest of the great. Whatever they thought, we can understand. They thought on a different level, a different plateau, a different elevation. Their ideas and their actions were so above us that we cannot even think under their terms. They were, to the extent, I think we mentioned a few weeks ago that the time of the giving of the Torah, they went back to the level of Adam and Eve when they were created in the Garden of Eden. They had such a great elevation at the time the Torah was given. So now you said they complained about everything. If you understand their complaints, it was not the way we complain about things, about food. It was very spiritual. It had spiritual ideas in mind, which it's a little difficult to go into right now. Maybe we'll dedicate a shmooze for that. But we have to understand these were not just people looking for good food, looking for a good time. They had very spiritual ideas in mind when they complained about it. It's not enough spirituality, they're really saying. We want more spirituality. It's not enough. Even though on the surface it looks like food, but it's really food for the soul, not food for the body. And this is what you have to understand. They were the greatest of the great. So it says they were crying. They came to them crying, we don't have enough food to eat. I said to the boys in the yeshiva, you boys sometimes complain about the food. I never saw any of you crying about it. They can complain about food in the yeshiva. Nobody cries about it. And they're the greatest people crying about the food. No, there's something much more to food that they wanted. Something spiritual in food that they wanted, which can't go right now. But we have to think in different terms of what they were thinking of their life.
So then so you're saying it was symbolic. What's written in the Torah is another level. To read it at.
It's like I always give this, you heard it from me many times, there's ice, there's water, and there's steam. It's the same thing, but it's different. They wanted food. It says, well, it's not symbolic. They were talking about food. But what they wanted out of that food is something much different than we want out of food. Something in food. God created the world, and he created people who have to eat food. What was the real purpose of God created the world with food, with eating? The much higher thoughts than this would seem to be on the surface. It's much deeper meanings to that. Maybe one of these times we'll discuss it. But you just have to realize, you like to hear that, huh? Yeah? Okay.
I want it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll come to it one of these days.